today's class, we are going to see about artwork. Previously, this artwork is being called as infographics, and that has been divided into many types right now. And that works on based on multimedia, artwork, interactive data visualization, and other formats. If I say something about artwork, people may not understand, people may not accept it because they may not be knowing. That is what the reason I'm just opening an elsewhere journal, policies and all those things, so that you'll get a very good touch on that. If I say personally, because these things are not available in the YouTube, and these things are not discussed in any textbooks of academic writing. So people will not able to understand when I say something about artwork. What do you mean by artwork? Of course, if you are very good at what I can say, writing, technical writing, they may know about infographics and illustrations. See, still this has been growing. When I was starting this online classes, I used to talk only about infographics and illustration. When I say about infographics and illustration, what people has to be understand that, a very simple thing is that I can put it in a very nutshell. When I have a block diagram in my article, that will be called as illustration. When I give some measurements in my graphing, when I have a graph with some measurement, it gives some information in terms of number, that will be called as infographics. When I talk about infographics, is that information about the graphics. It should be in the form of giving the data from the graph, values. Whereas block diagram will not give the value, will give only the illustration, explanation. When I say illustration, is explanation. But artwork is nowadays coming out with a different tool and different platform and different applications. It has been changing. See, when I say artwork to you all, you will be really, what I can say, people will be really, may not be getting into that point. And that is what the reason, I didn't take my studio and I didn't draw this and explain about artwork. I want to show directly where this artwork is there. Artwork, if you go to elsewhere channel, you can see this artwork. This is the artwork. Okay, this is the artwork. See, artwork is the recommended file formats, will be in a form of EPS or it will be in a form of PDF TIFF file. But normally, the companies will have an option only to go for only EPS and TIFF file. See, and a very important thing is that when you want to convert into printing, these things should not have the pixels to be broken up. When you take a printout and see very sharply, you can see this breaking up pixels. Normally, when you go for any artwork, it means that diagrammatic representation or illustration, whatever may be. What is the artwork should be created? It should be in a form of aerial, okay, and it should be in a form of times. And it is a very important thing is that everything should be done in either in TIFF file or EPS format. Okay, that is very important. It is a general term which is being used, and this is a very important thing. And a very important thing next thing is that sizing. We never bother about the sizing normally. Normally we never talk about the sizing. As I wish, I'll have my diagrams on my own size, which is not acceptable in the journal writing. A very important thing. See, if at all you cannot able to get your text to be fixed in your diagram, there is a general rule for artwork is that the printing size should be 7 point for normal text and not smaller than 6. Sometimes when I write something in the block diagram, what happens, the size will be very much big. The block will be very much big, or I cannot able to put into the text. Okay, I'll just show an example for this. Then you may understand how this happens, so that you get a real-time understanding about artwork, importance of the artwork. Now, recently I have developed one article I'm just writing one article to a person. This is the article. You can able to see very clearly, so that you can see very good artwork is there. What do you mean by artwork? That is a very big question for you. Art. What do you mean? You said illustration. What do you mean by artwork? So this makes a very big problem for you all people to understand. What do you mean by illustration? What do you mean by artwork? What do you mean by infographics? Now I'll show. Now this is what the what I can say. I can say that it is an artwork because the diagram was drawn by me. Okay, and you can see very clearly the size of the word. What is this particular size of the word should be? It should be kept in 7. It should be minimum not less than 6. That is what they are trying to say. Okay, very important thing. Okay, and this is the artwork. This is the artwork. It doesn't show any what I can say. It doesn't show anything about entire process of explanation is required about the article. It means that it is not a block diagram. It is an artwork. We may call it as line diagram or something like that. It doesn't come under infographic, or it doesn't come under what I can say. Your it doesn't come under your infographics. Infographics means it should give measurement. Illustration means it should give an explanation. And this is not coming under the explanation. It is coming under the artwork. And this artwork should be what should be the length, what should be the size is going to be discussed in the class right now. When you talk about the artwork, the size of these words, the marking and everything, it should be in the level of 7. Of course, minimum 6, maximum is up to 10. Okay. And that is the universal format which has been accepted, because you are going to submit your paper. It is going to become as a PDF file. When they try to open it, if there is very small in size, you may have pixels to be broken up. Now, this is your artwork. Now, this comes this particular diagram comes under the illustration. And now this is your infographics. This is your infographics. I think you can able to understand what do you mean by infographics. A figure which is having some information about the values, peak values. And see, after having the infographics, what I'm doing here, this is called artwork. I think you can able to see this one very clearly, artwork. Of course, this is what the artwork font size they are trying to say in Elsevier journal. And that is what I am trying to say you by giving a live example from the size of artwork. Okay, it is aim of having uniform look for all artwork contained in a single article. It is important to be aware of the journal style. Of course, journal style is there, but don't worry about it. The very important key thing is that here, whenever you are trying to mark something in artwork, the point should be 7 point, and it should not be less than 6. And it should be, the lettering should be legible. And this is the thumb rule, which can be strictly followed. Okay. And you should not have tint, there are instances where other factors in artwork, tint and shading and dictating finishing the shape of 10, up to maximum of 10 point, you can have your size of the board. Okay. And when you go for shading, what do you mean by shading? Okay, shading, shading is a very important thing. You can understand, I can show once again with the paper. Now I'll just clear it. The shading and color is also very important thing when you go for the artwork. See, this is what your shading. So I have done some shading here. Okay, this is what the shading. Color shading. It should be off tone. It shouldn't be dark color. Of course, there is a thumb rule for the color also, and which is a very important thing to be monitored when you draw the diagram. So I'll just show you the very basic thumb rule and resolution and bitmap site. See, normally when I want to have an image width, this is the standard size. Minimal size of an image width should be 30 centimeter. And if it is in a single column, okay, if it is a single column, 90 mm. And if it is in if it is 1.5 column, then it should be 140 mm. and double column is 190. And you can see the pixel size should be, it starts from 300 dpi, and pixels are about 500 dpi and 1000 dpi. It's a very important thing, and this is the pictorial visualization effect. If you are going to use double column, and if your image is going to be in a single column, then it should be 90 mm plus or minus. Okay, and it should not be very small. It should fit this particular column. That is very important thing. If at all you are going to have 1.5 size of image, it should be 140 mm. This is what been given here also, 140 mm, 1.5 column. Sometimes you cannot make it very big, sometimes it is very small. And if at all you want to make it at the full size of the image fit, it should be 190 mm. It's a very beautiful thing you have to take in your mind. And it is a very important thing. By seeing the structure itself, they'll really identify your quality of the work is very clear, and you know the standard of writing the article is very important. Which is a very basic thing, it's a very important thing. If you go to any PhD submission of a thesis, they'll be very particular about this type of sizing, formatting, and that is what the reason you go to many standard shops. If you talk about analysis, for example, these things have been done in Adaya Student Jealous. Of course, you can also do, no doubt in that, but we never bother about the DPI. We never bother about 90 mm because they'll be doing it at a very fast speed, but they know what is the standard of these type of sizes. Of course, only for this, a lot of companies are working as a BPO. Why this is happening? Why this is happening? Why not the size is not up to the level of what I can say, 91 or 95 or whatever it may be of below 70. If you take this, for example, why this artwork is being done? Because you may think that these things are nonsense because from your point of view, it is not very useful for you. See, what is the reason that why it is not extended up to this level? Who is going to ask if this is the size? For example, 95, why they are not preferring? Why this size should not be bigger than that? Why not it should be like this? Why not this should be like this? Okay, that is very important. You try to understand this. Why this has been kept this way? Why not it should be like this? The simple reason is that whenever they go for a hard copy of this particular prints, okay, the printing gap should be given because binding section will be there. Okay, and once again, I'll just clear it. The binding sections will be here. When you bind here, this diagram will not have the clarity. And that is the reason you can see this. They are not keeping exact size of 90 because if I have some word here, if I have discontinuity of word, for example, I have a word like this, henceforth, something like that. You don't see breaking of the words here also. They'll try to adjust it when you go for artwork. But because, if at all a word is being broken here, hence, and if I give a second line fourth, you can able to get it. Whereas for a figure, if something is missed here during the binding, that will becomes a very big problem. Okay, then. And a very important thing is that when you go for your, what I can say, the second thing, why this has been kept like this? Why not this can be the right-hand side? Why not at the left? Why both the corners are equally spaced? Why they say 140 mm of the width should be the diagram should be placed? Because when I do the binding, when you go for the hard copies, okay, you can able to see very clearly this hard copy will give a very good clarity view on this diagram. It will be an appealing effect. Moreover, when the text is being placed in between the words, okay, the clarity will be there. Whenever you write something in artwork, and it's a very important thing. See, there are people when they do that, you can see this diagram. You can see this diagram. See, now this diagram, when I am trying to draw here, when I'm doing some artwork here at the graphs, I'm not taking these sentences outside the plot. I'm just finding where my white place has been left out. How can I make it such a way that I cannot able to make my printing more difficult to have these lines to be disturbed. These points are not disturbed. And that way you have to put your artwork. Okay, that is very important. But see, you can see here why I'm not marking outside. Any artwork, Basically, it should be within the diagram, within the box of 140 mm, within the box of 90, within the box of 190 minimum. Okay, it should have the equal space here, right and left. That is very important. So this is what about the sizing. Of course, we are not bothering about these things. But a person with a very good publications, you'll easily identify this. Okay, you will easily identify this. The person who has done this article is not aware about these things, which is being given at API format, or it has been given at it has been given at MPA styling. Now, artwork types are being classified as line art. Okay, and in line art, you should have your you see that no data should be present outside the actual illustrated area is a very important thing. And when you keep your line, is a very important thing. If the line should be 10 point or 1 point ppt line width when you draw a diagram. Okay, that is very important thing. And when you talk about artwork, you can have your combination of colors. See, the combination of color is RGB. You can have the line diagram. You can have your grayscale diagram. No, don't worry about it. It's not that, you want to draw always in the color. Sometimes you may not be able to do that. You can make it as a line diagram. Okay. And you can have your combination of your dot work and line with. A very important thing which I want to say here is that the data should not be outside the actual illustrated area. It means that it should not go out of the box. And your line width should range from 1.1 to 1 from point. What is the line width? Line width. I think I can show it here. Insert. I just go for a new word because I never want to disturb this already. It is a submitted paper for essay journal. First round has been completed. I'll just take a new Word file. Then I'll just show you so that you understand what you mean by that, how to change your diagram. I'll just take a new Word file. Then I'll teach you that how to be the hard work has to be done. See, when you go for the artwork, when you're doing some artwork, when I want to draw some shapes. And this is what they're trying to say. Now, when I fill the colors, filling the colors. Now, this outer shape of the line, weightage is here, is being given. It is given very clearly what? 1.5 point. Okay. This is what they're trying to say. This should be the level of the pointing. Now, what we do normally without knowing this level, if I put it in the normal size, we don't bother about it. What we do normally, we just take a square. Okay, if at all I draw a square, okay, I'll just make this next option, and this is the square. Okay, now if I draw the block diagram, you see what is the difference. So this is what a very big problem we are facing when you draw the diagram. Each and every small things are being looked by the reviewers. Of course, if the reviewer is having more impact factor journals and higher impact factor journals, these things are very clearly followed. No doubt that even a single format they won't allow you. Okay, that is very important, because how do you follow this? Why do they follow? Because when you talk about the NBA accreditation or NAC accreditation, everybody knows in India, I'm just talking about Indian accreditation system. I'm not talking about foreign accreditation system like US ranking, or I'm not talking about Washington Accord accreditation. I'm just talking about Indian, because people who are attending the classes are Indian professors. So when you go for artwork, what happens here, if you go for low impact factors, how it has been compared to NB and NAC. I'll just make it a simple example. You have vision and mission. You say that this is the vision and mission. You have to follow the vision and mission. How do you follow the vision and mission? How far you are targeting your vision and mission is very important for NAC and NBA. Everybody should know the vision and mission. Similarly, a journal who is going to publish a paper, he has to give a author's guidelines very clearly that you are going to follow your APA formatting or MPA formatting or MLA formatting. What do you mean by that? Where it is there? It is there in your word. It's a very important thing. You have to understand this formatting. When you go to the reference, you can see your styles. See, these are the MLA formatting. Of course, many formattings are missed here. You can add it also. It is not a APA formatting, Chicago formatting, IEEE formatting and MLA formatting. And of course, when you read this formatting, there is a very big textbook to read all those things. In those textbooks, they have given very clearly what about the text, what is the size of the figure, how your artwork should be there. But we never bother it. We just take the template, we just do the copy paste, and that's it, we do it. And that should not be done. Very important thing. The artwork says very clearly the size of your square should be 1.5. That is what been seen in your elsewhere. What I can say, that is what's seen in your elsewhere. It is called 0.1 to 1.5 ppt point of line width. It's a very important thing. And when you write something inside, symbol or what is that they are trying to say? Courier, symbol, times, and all those things wherever possible. Now, what is that actually really means here is that you just go here. You can see here. This is called Courier New. And this is what they're trying to say. Of course, you have not seen it. So don't try to go for any helical, Helvetica or Arial or Courier or symbol time. Just make your mindset very clearly. Everything should be in Times Roman. And you make your mindset very clearly. The font size should be not less than 7. And a very important thing is line width is should be 1.5. That's it. Okay, that is very important. So that is what the reason whenever you apply for a journal, finally, if you apply, there is a PDF format is given to you. You just check your PDF and you say that your fonts are correct, or labelings are correct, and everything. It's a very important thing. And that is what is been given. But normally when I see when people are applying the papers, just like that, they will fill the name and those things, and then that's all. I think you would have seen the journal applying classes. You can see very clearly. When you come to the journal applying classes, you can see this. Finally, there will be an option to say that view your documentation, whether it is being properly, whether it is in properly viewing or not when it is converted into PDF file. Of course, in IEEE, they directly ask the PDF file because PDF version will be changing. Their PDF and your word will be changing. Better you take the headache and you do it. That is what they try to say. So every time you want to think that whenever you want to draw your artwork, it should be your EPS format. It is the best, or TIFF format. Of course, TIFF is very commonly available in the Paint and you can do it. That's not a very big thing. And a very important thing when you give your color images, images should be in RGB mode. What do you mean by RGB mode? Images should be in RGB mode. Either it should be RGB color, not in the other colors. Very important. I cannot put something like yellow, something like blue. Why they are preferring RGB? A very important question. Why it is being preferred RGB? Why not in yellow color? Why not in blue color? Why not? Sorry, blue is there. Why not in magenta? Why not in other color? Because RGB colors, when you take it in any sort of printout system, will not change its coloring tone. Whereas when you take yellow color, for my printer system, yellow will be in a different color. If I take it in my print, because you are going to sell it in soft copy, when I take it in a printout, of course, India, we don't have that type of provisions in the colleges. Taking a printout is a very big job in India, in colleges. But other colleges, if you go to any college, for example, in German, Malaysia, they'll have the facility in the library to take the color printouts. By that time, if they take in yellow, for their color printing, if it is an ink tank color, the yellow color will be different. The writing colors will change. Because, why this is being done? Because when a reader wants to read your document, he wants to have your documentation in some other style and preserving it, or something like that. He wants to create a poster of your document in your research labs. Many research labs will have these type of posting. I don't know how many have seen this. Whenever there is a highly ranked professors, not the professors, scientists from research lab, when they give the presentation, they'll cut your artwork and they'll put it in the PPT. Journal cutting off your artwork will be there in the PPT. It's not like that, as you think, it is not that you get your paper accepted, putting in a paper in your resume. It's not like that. Because your artwork will be seen by many people. That is very important. Say that needs some standardization, that needs some expectation, because we think that only for the paper. No, it's not like that. If you go on it, because this was, I was been having a real-time example when I was going for an Antarctica research. Of course, I was giving a presentation. Of course, there was only 14 people who are being selected all over the India for Antarctica research. Antarctica, there is a research program conducted, and you have to go for Antarctica. Normally, what I can say, biotechnology lab people and ocean technologies, no professors, no IITians, no IIC people will come there. Only research scientists will be there. And of course, my topic was being selected once. And due to pandemic, normally I used to attend many proposal meetings on the DST and all those things. By the time each will bring their documentation, PPT, and they'll present, they'll go. But this time, during the COVID, I had a lot of chances to see how their artwork was very presentable way given in the PPT. And I thought that, this is what the reason people are asking to know, because they put their entire output in the PPT and they are showing this to everybody, saying that that is what the research importance is given in the documentation. That is what the reason, you're asking to give a clear image. Okay. And because we may think that, no, for me, I have seen my PPT, PDF. Okay, I just taken the PPT and PDF, and clarity is good. Okay, I'm just closing. No, it's not like that. If you cut and put it in your PPT, by the time there should not be any break in the pixels. And that is what the reason they are trying to give like this. If at all your result is so good and your presentation is not good, no professors will try to follow, because after seeing your presentation, that will be followed by many people, especially in biotechnology and science journals. They give much importance to the artwork, because your diagrams will be taken by many people, and they'll continue your what I can say, they'll continue your diagrams in presentations and their papers also by having the courtesy. And they'll take it to the textbooks, they'll take to the, what I can say, lecture notes, everything will keep on moving. And that is what the reason they give much importance to your artwork, which is very important to understand. And then when you talk about this, very important thing is that, okay, and it should have, when you have your grayscale images, relabeling of your artwork is in the front of recommended by elsewhere. Ensure it is an appropriate font size. They will sometimes relabel also. There should be some flexibility on that. And that is also very important. It should not be tightly cropped. What do you mean by tightly cropped? See, when I go and see here, I'll show what is the meaning for tightly cropping. I just go to my on the same example file. You can see here. And this is what the cropping. You can see this cropping. You can see this very, very clear cropping here. I have just made a cropping. It should not be a tight cropping. Sometimes if the backend people, academic grade, after getting your acceptance, they'll try to move this. If I write everything here in the words and everything, if I make it clumsy, they will not have a chance to redraw it. Then it will become a problem for them. So they want to make everything in a correct position. So it should not be It should not to the end. It should not be fixed to the end. It should have. It should not. This is called tight cropping. It should not be done here, and that is very important when you go for tight cropping. I think you can understand what you mean by tight cropping. Now, we'll move on to the next very important thing is that I think you know about line diagram. Line diagram is the outline diagram. Okay. And once again, I'll go for very important thing is that I think you have completed the overview, sizing, types, you have completed about art and file formats. Okay. And when you want to go for the next thing is that, you know, I think you will go for the multimedia. Multimedia. What actually you understand by multimedia? You know, what do you mean by Of course, we are not having the multimedia. Of course, we are not having multimedia supplementary articles. Actually, we have discussed about this in the what I can say. This you have seen in video abstracts. Of course, this is called supplementary files, which should be submitted when you do some research in what I can say, animals or something like that. I'll just see this. You know, I'll just download the file article so that you can understand. This is a supplementary file which is required to upload. Of course, it is not necessary. Sometimes it is really required to make what I can say. The reviewers to understand this. Okay, and that is very, very important. You know, that is very, very important. And it is very, very important when you talk about this media files. See, when I want to, for example, I'll make it a very simple example. Now I have done an experimental work in my lab. Okay, I'll keep the photograph. Okay, I may hook up the photograph, but really you would have done something. I want to make it as a video file. Okay, and that video file I can take it in my system. For example, I'm going to find out. For example, I'll just take. I'm just going to do my motor fault identification in my lab. I'll take my real-time sensor examples. You know, I want to show that how it is connected, how it is working. I can take as a supplementary file. I can connect it. That is called here. The next area of the filing system is your multimedia files. Of course, we never bother about it. See, in the multimedia files, authors are allowed to include interactive data viewers. Okay. And your contextual function, contextual informations, functions, computer code, and other online enrichment. This is a very important thing. Of course, we never give much importance. When I do some code, I can have my desktop copied as a file format and put it in a file format. I can send as a supplementary because you are not giving your code, but how the code is running, I can show. Okay. To show that how you have done your work, how it is working is a very important thing. And this is called multimedia files. Of course, we never give much importance to this. When you provide these files, a reviewer will be more happy to see your, what I can say, see your work. And they'll be happy instead of getting your work to be done, reading something like that, you know, it will be reduced. He easily understands it. That is what the very important thing. And that is what called media files. What are the types of media files? Are the types of media files? When you go to multimedia, you can have the overview of multimedia. And this is what the instructions supplying the thumbnail. See here, you can see an example. An audio clip authors can optionally include a thumbnail image they feel is representative to the content of the audio clip. For example, a photography of a bird should be used of a sound of a bird song. Now the example of the photograph, which can be used as a sound clip. This is what the thing. When I'm doing something with, you know, bionics, or when I'm doing something bioacoustics, something like that, heart sound. Now I want to have that sound to be connected in the article. You know, I can fix their article. When I click it, you can get this sound in the what I can say, a PDF file or whatever it may be. It's called supplying thumbnail images. I think you can understand what you mean by thumbnail images. For videos, authors should choose a relevant frame still from the actual video clip that they feel is representative of the content of the video. It's not like that, whatever you want, you can put it. It should be related to your, what I can say. See, that is very important. This will be used as an image that Science Direct users can click on to start the playback of the video. And this should be done at the time of initial submission of the file to ensure the smooth workflow through production. This still image would have been same pixel dimension as a source file video file. As the source video file. That is very important. When I think this, I'll make it one simple example so that you can get it very clear. See, when I submit my document, I feel that here I want to have my audio to be connected. Okay, audio to be connected. You know, hyperlink. What do you do it in hyperlink? You know, I just, if at all I'm going to give an hyperlink for this document, I just select it. Okay, I am adding my link, hyperlink. Now, when I click this particular line should go and open a web page. Similar way, when a person want to click here, the audio sound should be connected, and that is what they are expecting, linking. Okay, and that you can do it, and I'll show you how this has to be done. Similar to hyperlinking, linking of, you can even use your hyperlink also, link, or I can say that audio files in Word. So this is called inserting audio file in your document. I think you can able to see very clearly. So this is what the audio file you want to insert in the document. Okay, you can see here, because when I do it, you know, you may not able to get an idea. Inserting a sound file in your document. Okay, and because you may have different file format, and that is what the reason I'm just showing a simple method. And you can insert your document, insert this content to the file, your document, so that you can edit it later using your application which created the source file. You can insert the document. Okay, inserting a sound document, and inserting the Word file is also very important thing. You can video files also can be inserted. Of course, you can inserting of video in Word document. Not one thing, how to insert a video sound into your MS and Power, what I can say, PowerPoint and Excel. Of course, you would have seen it, no doubt. Just open this. See, this is what the procedure you have to follow, inserting a, what I can say, and this is what the hyperlink, I think you can able to see, just make it very clear. So this is what very clear here, you can see this hyperlink. You can make it with hyperlink also. You can create an object. You can go to the insert menu. Okay, you can have this insert menu, and you can have your objects. You can search for the objects. Okay, I think you can do it here in your objects. Okay, objects. Okay, you can see these objects, and you can create a file. I think you can do it up your phone. Click the browse and look at the file, movie file you want, and select and insert. To play the media, double click it icon and okay, click it. That's it. So these supplementary files also included in multimedia. Of course, no way, no YouTube or no technical writing books never give such explanations. Only the people who are into this writing and seeing many papers, they can able to get it very clearly. When I go and open my PDF file, you know, when I click it, then automatically, you know, I can get the link. I think, you know, you can see this, how you are doing in QRC file linking. Okay, QRC file linking is all QR code. I'm just talking about QR code. You know, many browsers are coming up. No, they are giving only QR code, because you can use that QR code and you can link that website and you can fill it. No way you want to copy, paste and all those things. I think when you do this, you will get a really a headache for you. When you are giving in a Word file or a picture file, it's very tough. When you give it in PDF, when I click that in PDF, the link can go directly to the particular website and you can go it. You are making convenient to the reader to understand the concept. Of course, this can be done at least only when you are doing your research work exactly. If you go for high impact factor, these things are very much required. And when you write a code exactly what you are doing, you can show them. Try to be very clear here when you're trying to submit your multimedia files, supplementary files. You should give a very clear-cut view that you have done it correctly. Don't give a negative impression. That is very important. Don't hooked up and doing will not work out. Please don't try to do that. And you'll be caught hold. Okay. And it will become a headache for you for not accepting the paper. So this is what the thing, about the multimedia files and artwork. I think you got a very good idea about this. And when you talk about this next thing, a very important thing which I'm going to explain here is that we'll go back, interactive, okay, and data visualization, other online article enrichment. It's a very important thing. And this has come very beautifully in terms of data visualization. Data visualization, this is a very important thing. It is called data visualization. And this has become a very big thing, in what I can say, in nowadays articles. What do you mean by data visualization? The data visualization, you can see this examples. You can see some examples. No, that will be very useful to you understand. Diagram will have their illustrations with the visualization. It is called data visualization. See, of course, I think I'll show you one more thing, data visualization software. Data visualization software. See, data visualization tools are coming up like anything. And that recently what I learned is that is your Power BI. It is called Power BI. Power BI is there. It is from what I can say. It is actually from your Microsoft. Of course, I learned Power BI. And this is what they're trying to talk about it. This is how your diagrams will be. And this is what your data visualization is trying to explain to you. What do you mean by what I can say, data visualization? I just shown you data visualization tools. That's it. I'm just matching it because these things are very important for an article writing people. Without this, you cannot go ahead with a very good publications, which is not possible. Okay, because day by day, weight traction is making a very big growth. Day by day, what I can say, predatory journals are coming out. So day by day, people are not believing, especially Indian journals and then Chinese journals. Other countries, the things are different. They're highly, what I can say, predatory journals are in Asia. Asians are prone to the predatory journal. And people are not aware that what do you mean by supplementary file. Even when you go and apply for a journal, covering letter should be in the college letter pad. It's not been done in India. It is not known to any people. That is the usual procedure. Whenever, because you have a document, you have a work in your, for example, you just imagine like this. If you're doing a research for ISRO and you want to publish a part of this, you have to get the approval from the committee stating that this is the part I'm going to give it in the paper. When the funding people accept it, then only you can do it. So you want to write a letter and they have to give an, what I can say, authentication that these images can be given in the article, then you do it. You have a procedure. In that procedure, the research coordinator will, the professor or the funding person will have your will have your very clear letterheads, and that letter will be used for covering letter. And it shows that the genuinity of the system which you are following. See, I'll just make it a very simple point. When you go for letter of recommendation to US companies, US universities, you have to give it only in the letterhead. When you want to give your, what I can say, a LOR, letter of recommendation, and if you are going for the statement of purpose, or it is from any institution by the principal or somebody, it should be given in letterhead. And that is the usual procedure. And that is to authenticate that the work is really going on. That is very important. So you try to understand what is the importance of the supplementary file, what is the importance of the diagram. See, we are not being caught by the wording of the sentence or not by the, what I can say, work. We are being caught based upon the very important thing, whether it is a hooked up research publication or really done. If it is really done, they don't bother about the result. That is the problem. The reader will have always an idea. This fellow didn't do this, then simply just putting the diagram. If you give the supplementary files, he'll get a good idea, and he'll also encourage you and stating that better you can do this. The second thing is that a very important thing, he will not be deviated in his own thought. The image will give a clear-cut idea. See, I say that antenna can be fixed in an end part of the motor, and he will not accept. When in my country, my motor is different way. How come this can be fixed at the back side of the motor? Now, if you show that as an image and a video, and it is in running condition, acquiring the data, it will really give a very good impression to the readers, and you can go for the high impact factor journals. That is very important. I think you can understand what is the importance of hard work, and you can get a very clear idea about your hard work. And I'm just going to continue with the data visualization software in the next class, because it is a one more important thing which you have to deal. You can see this data visualization examples, 2D, 3D, and how that visualization can be made very clearly to the reader. And you can make it very clear, because I'm trying to go ahead with the either Power BI, or I'm planning for going ahead with the, what I can say, Tabula, and it may depends upon the situation, and more ranking tools will be selected in my next class. I think if you have any doubt, okay, if you have any doubt, you can just what I can say, post your questions in your chat box, and you can get cleared your ideas. I think I'll stop the recording here.